Buenos dias, children.
The mayor's in the house. What up? The mayor's in the house. Better throw them hands up. The mayor's in the house. Hear them talking in the streets. The mayor's in the house. Turning over that new leaf. The mayor's in
Okay, this is Mr. Oliver talking about that new movie that just came out. It did very well on its opening weekend. And we are talking about, of course, 300, Rise of an Empire. And first things first, it's rated R. Don't go see movies that are rated R, kids, unless you're 17. And if you're in my class, you're a sophomore probably, so you're not 17. You would need to go with your parents. Not recommended for reasons we'll get into in a moment. So better just wait until you are older. Nothing is going anywhere with it. It's so inappropriate, I'm not sure I should be watching it, quite frankly. It's a lot of bad violence and naked people and all that. We can skip it. But if you do have the consent of someone else, then let's talk about the movie. The movie is supposedly based on historical events, but if you saw the first 300, I doubt you thought it was exactly a historical film. The first one had hunchbacks and like monster things, and everybody was shirtless and buff. That's not really historically accurate. And this movie kind of takes up that idea. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, I want to note. When a soldier was telling his story, and probably even today, but especially back in the Greek era, they would exaggerate. And they would tell stories that make their deeds seem even more heroic and make, stir your blood, get you going. So it's not that weird to see them exaggerating a little. This movie, however, is three things. It takes place as a prequel, so stuff that happened before the events of 300. It takes place as a stuff that is happening while 300 is going on. And then it is a sequel in that it talks about a naval battle after 300 is over. So first things first, it talks about the story of the Athenian Themistocles, which is a great name for your kids. I don't see a lot of kids named Themistocles these days. Really would like to. Anyway, Themistocles is this Athenian general, and he's really into the navy. He's responsible largely for building up the Athenian navy. He's a politician too, although in the movie you wouldn't get much of that. You'd see like, oh yeah, they said he's a politician, but mostly he's just running around without a shirt on. And he says he's not even married. He's married to the Navy. He was married, maybe also to the Navy. Maybe he was two-timing his wife, but he was married. And he was not at the first battle that they talk about, which was the Battle of Marathon, which was not a naval battle, despite what I just said. I was talking about him in general. Okay, Themistocles was at the Battle of Marathon, and there he kills the Persian king Darius, which then inspires Darius' son, Xerxes, to go to a cave of hermits which doesn't make any sense. A hermit cave has a hermit. A hermit cave. Hermit, one. This is a cave of hermits. But okay, in the movie, Xerxes goes to the hermit cave, and then he gets in some water, and I'm pretty sure he's wearing clothes when he gets in the water. He comes out and he's all crazy looking, like he is in the movie, where he's got no hair on his body, and he's taller, and he is pierced on his face and all over, and he has giant eyes that burn. They have supernatural elements. That probably didn't happen, but you probably figured that part out. Anyway, I was hoping this movie was going to be a more peaceful film. I was hoping they would reflect on all the damage and chaos that had happened in the first film. But, maybe there'd be 5 stages of grief, going up, oh, Leonidas is dead. No. Denial. Queen Gorgo or whatever her name is, running around I cannot accept it. But that's not what happens. Instead, everybody's just grr, we need to fight. Which I like fighting, so that's okay. And the movie features this first Battle of Marathon. Then it jumps ahead to have Themistocles go visit Sparta to talk Leonidas into his wacky plan where everyone's going to work together. And then he goes off. Themistocles goes off and fights another battle, which he loses in the naval sense, against a Persian queen. Okay, sorry, let me clarify. In the movie, you would think she's a Persian queen. She, in the movie, is a woman named Artemisia. She is a product of violence, unnecessary, by the way. I do not like when movies use sexual violence as a way of creating a character, but that's what this movie does, and it's not even factual, so shame on you, movie. But she grows up she's like a sex slave on the streets of Persia. Her family was terrorized in multiple ways by the Greeks, as was she, and she ended up becoming a buddy with the king of Persia, Darius, and become the advisor of Xerxes. And she also becomes the head of his navy. All right, here's the facts. She was not the product of violence. She was a Greek queen, not girl discarded on the side of the Persian streets. And she did have a lust for warfare, so they got that part right. And she was never the Navy commander or anything like that. She did bring ships to participate in a naval battle, and she did fight. She brought 5 ships, F-I-V-E, 5. So it's a little bit less than they show in the movie. Anyway, the movie itself, that's the plot. I mean, at the end, they do the Battle of Salamis, where Themistocles tricks Artemisia into engaging the Greek navy in a trap. They don't obviously know it's a trap, and the Greeks win. But you're not there for that. You're not there for anything other than people getting stabbed in slow motion and jumping around. And as far as realism goes, it's not at all realistic. As far as excitement goes, it's pretty exciting. I mean, you really cannot argue that people running around, stabbing people in slow motion. If you enjoy soldier movies, it's exciting. I mean, it's as long as you say, okay, this is devoid of all realism. This is devoid of all historical fact. I am simply wanting to see dudes run around, jump around in slow motion, attacking each other. If you go from that perspective, A+. If you go from plot, if you go from depiction of women, if you go from anything like that, probably a D-F. But it is entertaining, and it will probably be a popular movie. So I thought I should probably record something just to point out stuff that's not real historical. In real life, Artemisia didn't want to go to the Battle of Salamis. So she wasn't in charge anyway, so it didn't matter. And Xerxes was for it, which is the opposite of what it is in the movie. And she is not killed at the battle. That's a spoiler. Oh, sorry. Spoilers. Okay, there. Spoiler alert. She is not killed. Okay? So, watch it if you're with your parents, but I'm going to go ahead and recommend. That's going to be awkward. A lot of naked people, a lot of stabbing people with swords and stuff. It's awkwardness. It's lots of blood. Not good. But maybe you got a different relationship with your parents than I did, and it won't be weird and awkward. All right? So, wait till you're 17, kids. Overall review by me, I would say probably a B-. Probably never worth watching again, but entertaining for that one time. All right. Bye-bye.
Shaking trees, yo, picking fruit too. Tell me what the mayor's supposed to do. Buying furniture, catching mad fish. That ain't a fish, that's just an old boot, dude. Really though, gonna go recycle it and fish some more. Gonna buy a hat at the clothing store when I make